So Peachtree Street is or has been home to Atlanta jazz musicians for at least the past 2 decades, with Churchill grounds, and it cultivated a lot of jazz musicians in that spot. Atlanta has been home to some phenomenal jazz musicians, and I know Atlanta isn't always the first city that comes to mind when you think of jazz, maybe Harlem or New Orleans, but we have incredible talent here. And Atlanta Jazz Festival is one of the largest jazz festivals in the country, that's been going since 1977, and jazz musicians from all around the country have come here and shared their work with musicians here and the people here, and that has created this scene where so many jazz musicians have learned here, been cultivated here, and I'm just one of them. Music has been my through line, my driving force that keeps me going all the time, and my sustainment. And I've been able to do that because of Atlanta and Atlanta musicians. They've taught me, they have molded me and given me a space to grow as a musician, as a jazz vocalist, whipping me into shape to tell me what I need to know, and pointing out what I don't know so that I can become better. And Atlanta is home. So the album is called Marrow, and before I started, I already knew what producer I wanted, which was Troy Miller. I wasn't sure if he was going to do it, but I'm so glad he decided that he would. Troy is a drummer, producer, engineer, phenomenal writer, just an incredibly talented artist. And he's produced records for Gregory Porter, for Jacob Collier, and Laura Mvola, and I really look up to those artists and love his vision for bringing those projects to life. And I knew that Troy was going to be able to help me take the story and the narrative of what I was trying to do and bring all the pieces together. And he did a phenomenal job with helping me do that. Troy really understands the feeling and the mood of music and how to use music to convey feeling. That's incredibly important in making music, because you want music to invoke some feeling in another person. So the rhythm section for Marrow are all phenomenally talented musicians that have been with me for a while. I have Kenny Banks Jr. on keys, Che Marshall on drums, Trevor Wolford on guitar, and Billy Thornton on bass. And all four of them are distinctly incredible in their own right. And we've kind of formed a family over the years. They really are like brothers to me. And Kenny Banks Jr. has been with me for about 10 years. He is my favorite piano player. And we've developed this kind of language where I write in a very kind of lyrical way. I never really know what a song is about until it's finished. And we both kind of write that way. We kind of just write from what we're feeling. So some songs may start with us just looking out the window and just coming up with a sound or a vibe or a melody that conveys what we're feeling. And then words get put to that, and then it develops and grows. And we have this language that I don't think I have with many musicians. And so it's really special, our relationship. And this is the second record he's helped me write. He's co-wrote a lot of songs on the record with me, and it's an honor to work with him. He teaches me daily, and is just a phenomenal person. He's a joy to be around. He's the kind of person that just kind of lights up the room. On guitar, and then also composing a few songs on the record, I have Trevor Wolford. Trevor is, he just brings like a completely different element to all of this, everything that he touches. It becomes interesting and unique whenever he's involved. And he's able to listen to me and translate what I'm saying into something that I hadn't even imagined. And so I am very honored to have him as part of the project. On bass, I have Billy Thornton. Billy is a joy to watch. He is such a fun, and just his physicality and how he plays the bass. He brings something that a lot of other bass players that I've worked with haven't been able to tap into. And it doesn't matter where he's at, he can always find his way back home musically. No matter what you throw at him, he knows where he is. He is able to navigate in a smart and creative way, and I am honored to have him as part of this project. On drums, I have Che Marshall. Che has also been with me about 10 years. He actually helped me put my original jazz band together and has been part of helping bring in all these other musicians over the years that have helped me formulate my sound. I would say Che has been a consistent person in helping me develop my sound, and I think it's a really special thing when a drummer can be sensitive to a vocalist, where you don't feel overpowered by what they're playing and can just know where to lay to create this bed for you to live on. As a drummer, he's very much into the lyrics, which many drummers are only listening to sound and rhythm, but he is into the lyrics because for him the lyrics translate into rhythm. He wants to know what a story is about, and then knowing what the story is about, he's able to convey rhythmically what that story should be. With every song I've ever done, he's always like, stop, okay, what are the lyrics? Let me figure out what the song is about, so he can know how to approach the song, and that I think is really special. I wanted to have strings on this record as another voice to help tell the story. My vision was to explore jazz, but from a millennial point of view. So I wanted to bring in other elements of sound. At the core of jazz is improvisation. A lot of the record you will hear that. But I wanted to explore chamber and folk and these other elements that meld into jazz. And so I got Anton Harris and Tara Harris to compose the string arrangements, and they did a phenomenal job. Troy Miller conducted them in their playing, and I don't think I could have picked a better crew of string players to help tell the story. So the album itself was recorded at 800 East Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was engineered by Ben Holst. A lot of the vocals were actually done here at my home with Rhett Huffman as the vocal engineer. And I think being able to record vocals from home helped me get into a more vulnerable, honest place. In writing this album, I kept coming back to this idea of self-exploration and figuring out who you are. I wanted the record to come from a place of feeling grounded and finding your core and your voice, or whatever the thing is that you do, and connecting with it deeply. The record is about trusting your inner light, figuring out who you are, and that thing that is the core of who you are, we started calling it marrow. Like, bone marrow is the core of your blood in your body. And so we wanted to find something that was like as grounded as possible. And so we came up with Marrow, and that has been the through line since the beginning for what this record is about. And it goes through different versions of figuring out who you are, find your way. Take a Little Trip is a cover we did, which was written by Stevie Wonder and actually performed by Minnie Riperton. And I hope that we did it justice. I feel like we did a good job. In life, we can get really caught up in the day-to-day goings of things, living and doing and being busy all the time, that we don't ever really get to figure out who we are or what our purpose is. I wanted Marrow to be about finding the light inside of you, figuring out that we all have purpose, figuring out what your purpose is, and not giving up on figuring out what that is and just going after it. And that's what Marrow is about.
Fucking fast.
You did it. Wait, can I do it? Can you do it?
My new
I can't do it.
my front desk.